As we now enter into the week leading up to my professional football trial, this week is going to be mainly about what I'm actually doing to prepare for it. What I'm doing to prepare. I made a video yesterday talking about my faith and the importance of God in my life and on this journey. I recommend you go watch it. It was a very good, very inspirational, spiritual type of video. In this episode of the podcast, I'm going to talk more so about the practical things. What am I doing to actually prepare for it? This whole week, I'm going to go over the preparations and what I'm doing to get ready for it, and what this trial means for me, both on a physical level, spiritual level, and I'm giving you a little bit of an insight as to how a person trains to try and make it to the professional scene, how I'm preparing for my professional football trial. I think it's good insight, and perhaps you can learn a few things about your own training routine as well. But this whole week is going to be dedicated to what I'm doing leading up to it, and what I'm learning and what I'm experiencing, and maybe telling a few more stories. And we're gonna we're gonna have a good time. Right? We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna learn a lot, and then when I get on that trial, I'm going to make sure to make it as as immersive as I can, given kind of the time I'm allowed to record, right, and make videos, make podcasts, continue to produce things. So what am I doing? How does it look like when an athlete is training for a big trial, right? So I have a couple of issues, right? My issues, I haven't actually played, I haven't practiced with a team, I haven't played in a game in a while because well, I was doing other things. I was working a job to try and make money to pay for this. So the last couple months have just been me training on my own. I did a couple of training sessions here and there, but really I'm more so relying on like pickup games and just hardcore training in the gym, like strength training, cardio training, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of trying to make a big combination of it. But on Saturday was probably my like best day. I In the morning I did like a hard treadmill workout where I do 3 minutes basically like at a sprint speed. It's different depending on where you're watching this, but on the treadmill you would put it at level 10 here. When I would do this exact type of training in Portugal, I'd put it at level 15 because the measurements are different. I don't know like what's the deal with that. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I would do that for 3 minutes and then 2 minutes at walking speed, at like fast walking speed. So like 3.5 here, and if it's in Europe, 6 for 2 minutes. So then you would do 3 minutes on, 2 minutes walking, and then you would do that 6 times to make a half hour workout, dude. Incredible, right? Like you're just sweating it out, you're feeling horrible, you're pushing through all the pains, all sorts of things, and you're really pushing yourself past the limits, and you run about 6 kilometers when you do that. So that was my morning workout. And then, I did some stretches, made sure to do the proper recovery practices, and in the evening I did a pickup game where we just played for an hour and a half. We just played the sport of football for an hour and a half. Super fun. I played well. I ran a lot. So that was like probably the most I had on a cardio level, and I showed that I'm ready. I'm like good to go. Like I'm like cardiovascular like reasons, I'm good to go. I'm fit. I'm ready. I'm ready to go and make this happen. And I'm ready to compete because I increased the amount of times I would actually go and run to about to like 2 to 3 times a week, whereas maybe in the first few weeks of my whole training thing it was a little bit less cardio. And I'm focusing on trying to balance like sprint speeds, right? Sometimes you have to do some sprints because sprints really help the hamstrings and like the explosiveness that football comes with. You have to do some sprints and you have to do some longer distance running. You have to try and have a combination of both, and of course you have to play the sport and you have to get lots of touches on the ball. So there's lots of different aspects. Like really when you're training for football, and I'm sure this can be applied to other sports, you have four main things you're training. You're training the physical, so that would include the actual, all of it, right? It would be including like sprinting, longer distance, cardio, strength, like actual physical strength training in the gym, all that type of stuff. Like plyometrics if you're doing plyometrics. That's what the physical. And then you would have the technical, which is on the ball work, passing, dribbling, shooting, like defending, tackling even could be considered that. And when I'm playing pickup games, I'm kind of working all of it, right? Long passes, short passes, headers, all that kind of stuff. Whatever you can really think of that involves the ball and you're touching the ball with with your feet or with other parts of your body to control it, and that's your technical. That's your technical side. Number three is the tactical side, which that's included with, like, you watch the games, you digest the sport, you understand your position. Right? I play center back, so I'm a defender, and I also play fullback. So how do I do the position? How do I play those positions? What is required of me? What would be, what are good things that actual professional players, some of the best in the game, what are good things they do to be so good? What do they do in that position to be so good, and try and emulate that for myself? So talk about the position, you talk about just like where you are on the field when you make a certain pass, and you analyze games and you watch videos talking about other analysis to get a better understanding of the game, of the sport. That's number three. And the fourth one is the most important one, which is the mentality. It's the mental side of the game, which is about, it's like 80% of everything that is required of you in any sport is mental. You can have all the other things right, but if you're not mentally ready, and that can be trained through discipline, waking up early, putting yourself in tough situations, voluntary pain and suffering to prime yourself and be ready for whatever suffering you're going to have to do on that field, or whatever you're doing. But for me, I'm using the football example, so I'm going to say on the field. The pressure, put yourself in high pressure situations often so that when the pressure hits, right, the trial, I'm as ready as possible. Mentally is the most important thing. Like, make sure you know why you're there. Make sure you have a reason as to why you're doing it and why you're pursuing it, and go and truly give your all. Push past your physical boundaries and really tap into that mental strength that you've been building. And that's what I've, slowly doing myself throughout my life. Like, I can just tell you a little bit about my journey. Like, mentality was always the biggest thing for me. Always. I would, something would go wrong, and I'd lose my crap. I'd lose my head, right? Maybe sometimes it would be in the form of anger. Sometimes I would literally cry. Like when I was a kid, man. I didn't score a goal because I was a striker. I was an attacking player. I'd cry at the end of games. Whenever I played bad, I'd cry. I'd hate myself. I'd talk about how I'd never going to do it. And I'd be on the field, and I'd be like, how am I going to ever make it pro when I play this bad? Like, I'd be on the field thinking about this. And obviously that's terrible mentality. So slowly, as I went to Portugal, as I slowly developed as a player even further, I learned a lot more about what it means to be mentally strong, and how you have the right mindset going into things, and be positive rather than negative, and appreciate the wins, and don't be so focused on when things don't go so wrong, because things will go wrong. Me having to play in a team where we lost 16 games in a row, some of which were unbelievably humiliating, was something that really taught me about losing. It taught me about when things do go wrong. So that's helped me a lot in the context of my own mental development. But there's still a lot I have to grow in as well, of course, as always. So you have those four main pillars, and if you want to call them that, and four sections of what you're meant to be training. Right now, I'm focused on a lot of the physical and a lot of the mental, of course, because I know, and obviously I do some technical, but I know I'm a good player. I know that I have the technical skills, and with the ball at my feet, like, I'm good. Like, I'm confident. Like, I've slowly been developing more confidence in my actual ability, whereas a couple years ago, that probably wasn't the case. Because of the work I've just constantly kept putting in. I'm at a place where I'm very confident in my ability. An example of that would be my long passes. Right? As a center back, sometimes you need to switch the play. So you need to have the power and the accuracy and get the height on the ball, and it has to be pretty perfect. Like, a couple years ago, I sucked at it. I was terrible at it. Half the time I'd kick the ball, I wouldn't even have the right power. The ball wouldn't even get off the ground, and I'd give it away. And then inevitably I'd be pissed off at myself. Like, I remember a couple games we played where that exact thing happened. And it didn't lead to a goal, but I'd still get super mad, and then I wouldn't try it again. And then that's how you're falling into those exact same issues. Now, because I've just spent a lot of time, like last, couple of years, last summer, even time before that, just training, getting people out there, we're training, I'm kicking the ball constantly, just practicing that motion of kicking it, lifting it, directing it across the field. And now I'm actually pretty good at it because I've just put in the reps towards it. That's an example of my actual ability that's gotten better because of my hard work. but now I'm focusing more so on the physical because it's really about making sure that the level that I'm going to, that I physically, cardio wise, agility, and kind of change of pace wise is ready for that. That's for me is like if physically I'm ready, then that allows me to put all of the rest of my time when I'm on the trial into the mental. Because tactically I'm good. Like I feel like I could be a coach. I want when I'm watching the games, like I'm understanding. Okay, right, this is happening, right? Like inverted fullbacks or whatever thing I'm studying and looking at. I understand it, and I'm always learning new things as well. But tactically, I'm good. Technically, I know I'm good. As much as I still make sure to get a lot of touches on the ball, 1 or 2 sessions a week. And of course, in the pickup sessions, I'm doing exactly that, playing against people as well. Doing that kind of fortifies it. But those two, I'm pretty solid at. The physical is the most important for me right now. So during this preparation, it's just been a lot of cardio, a lot of time in the gym, some time with the ball at my feet, a good amount of time with the ball at my feet, a few pickup sessions, which were incredibly helpful because not only did it help me judge where I was at at a cardio state, it also put me in game situations, made me think a little bit more, get me kind of in that mindset, in that frame of what I'm supposed to be doing when I end up getting to this trial, and it's basically the technical is good. The physical, I'm ready. I've been working and focusing more so on that. I'm ready. I'm pretty confident. So now that physically I'm ready, I know that the rest of my energy can be put in the mental. Because I know the mental has always been a problem for me. And to make it as a professional athlete in anything, you need that mental toughness. You can do everything right. And this is what I learned really through many of my struggles last year. You can do everything right. Every preparation can be right and it's perfect and you're ready to go and you're feeling hyped. But the second the whistle blows and you get into the game, it all goes to crap. That has happened to me and I've had horrible, horrible games as a result of that. This is what I'm having to continue to work on to get to the point where mentally, when you're in the moment, when you're in the pressure, when you're in that high adrenaline, high octane situation in the game, you're able to respond and react and still be calm and not be angry and not get mad when things don't go my way. Mentally, I'm working to get to that point. But being physically ready makes it so that it's much easier to focus on the mental, because if you're if you're not physically fit and you're putting your mental energy into fighting the pain you're feeling because you're tired after 10 minutes, then that's a lot of mental energy that you need to be putting towards actually making good plays and actually reading the game properly, which you can only do if you're fully there. So physically being ready is the most important, because then physical allows you to mentally train yourself to be better. And that's what I'm working on. And when I did that double session on Saturday, I knew pretty much, okay, I'm pretty good to go. Like I'm solid, I'm ready. Let's do this, So that's a very good thing for me. That's a very positive thing for me. Now it's all about working on the mental. This week, I'm still going to do a few physical things, but it's going to be probably a little bit lighter than previous weeks because I'm just slowly tapering off so that I'm not going to be so sore and drained when I actually make it. Because I also have to make sure my sleep is right. I also have to make sure that I get there and the jet lag isn't so terrible and the time adjustment, like I have to adjust to the time and the meal times and the sleep time so that I can truly get there and give my all and I don't have to worry about that stuff. So there's these other things that I have to prepare for as well. So with the physical knowing that I'm ready to go, I'm kind of just tapering off a little bit. This week, what my days will kind of look like, what my workouts will look like. Today, I just got back from an upper body session. Normally, actually, all the time, I only do one a week. One upper body session. I don't really like to split it up. I do everything. I do some calisthenics and some actual weights, a combination of the two, once a week. Because as a footballer, you do not want to be top heavy. You don't want to be so big in your uppers and your lowers are falling off. That I kind of felt like that was me maybe like 6 months ago, maybe a little longer ago. So that's why so from that point I only do once a week upper body. like strength in the gym. Tomorrow, it's going to be lower body. I'm going to see because my legs are sore, inevitably, from that double session on Saturday. So yesterday, Sunday, was a rest day for me, full rest day, where I just focused on, mobility and relaxation, just kind of getting myself primed for a stronger week ahead. Today was the upper body session. I'm going to do a lot more stretching, a lot more recovery work today. And then tomorrow, we're going to go at it with a hard lower body session. And I'm also going to do a core workout, ab/core workout, because it's important to have a strong core, and I do specific workouts for it. Not everyone does that, but I would probably do like an hour and a half of legs and an hour of abs. And it's different things, and a lot of people don't do it, but I find that having a strong core is super important because it just affects your balance when you're actually in the game and you're in the moment. So that'll be tomorrow. Wednesday, depending on my soreness levels, how my legs are feeling after the hard session, Wednesday or Thursday will be one last cardio session. That exact thing on the treadmill that I talked to you about before, with the 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off for half an hour, or it'll be a pickup session depending on what my friends want to do. If we want to organize one final thing before I leave, it'll either be the cardio in the gym or it'll be a pickup session. And then Friday will just be an ab workout and just resting, and then Saturday I leave. So that's going to be the plan physically for this week. It's a little bit lighter. Like normally I'd incorporate a bunch of other things, and I still kind of am, but today was lighter. What I would do at the end of every gym session would be either time on the stationary bike, time on the Stairmaster, or time on the treadmill. Just to add that little extra, right? Just to add that little insurance on the top that I'm really pushing myself, right? Some people say that cardio at the end of your gym session kills the gains. I don't care about being big. I care about being ready. That's a pretty good quote, right? If you're on an athletic pursuit, that's how you should be thinking about it. You don't want to be big, unless you're trying to be a bodybuilder. But if you're trying to be a soccer player, which is my case, or you're trying to be a basketball player, or you're trying to be a hockey player, maybe you have to be pretty big for that. But you don't want to be big. You want to be ready. And that's a good way to think about it. Ready is being ready from a cardiovascular sense. That's the most important. From, your speed and your agility, most important. The actual physical thing in the gym and being strong is secondary. At least that's for me. For other people, maybe you're skinny and you need to get a bit of weight. You need to gain a bit of weight. That's for you to analyze and figure out a plan for yourself. But for me, once a week doing upper body and once a week doing lower body is enough. But even after those, I do little extra bits of cardio as well to add to everything. And then I do a full harder cardio session and then some pickup games here and there as well. So this week will be a lighter week. But throughout that's kind of how my training would be looking like. This week, really my goals, and I've already started doing that. Upper body session, checked off. 2 ab workouts, a leg workout, a couple more half cardio sessions, and 1 bigger cardio session, and 1 ball work session. That's really going to be the goal, just to make sure everything's all good and taper off and have a little bit of a lighter routine going into the trial so that I'm ready, so I'm not sore. I need to prioritize recovery as well. So those are my goals for the week, and that is what I'm going to be working on this week. I need to make sure that I'm not sore, right? I don't want to be sore. I don't want to be fatigued. I don't want to overtrain. I've already reached the point where I did 2 huge cardio sessions in one day and felt great. So with that in mind, knowing that I'm ready, it's just time for me to recover from the sorenesses, to do a lot of recovery work, to do a lot of stretching, and to kind of tick off the boxes and check off what I've planned on doing this week to make sure that when I get to Saturday and I'm on that flight and then I land Sunday morning, that I'm ready. That I'm as ready as I know I can be. And then at that point, it is just mentality. It has not the physical, I'm ready. The mentality is what's most important. So with the physical, the technical, the tactical side of the game, I'm ready. The physical is a little bit of work this week, and the technical is a little bit of work this week as well. And there's Champions League on this week, so I'll definitely be analyzing some games for the tactical side. But of course, as I look at it throughout my entire life, the mental is always the most important. If I'm ready in the other three, that allows me to put all of my time and effort into the mental when I'm actually in those, in that trial, in those situations, in those game situations, training with players that are probably better than me or are more deserving of being there, at least for that moment. I have to prove myself as being worthy of being able to stay with the team for the long run, not just for like a small 2-week trial. That is what I'm trying to aim at, and I know that mental is 80% of that. So that is what my training kind of looks like. I'm sorry that I kind of explained it in a little bit of a scattered way. But let me give a small little conclusion to this whole episode and, how my training is working through this and how I am going to be ready. Saturday was a big day, double session. So as a result, yesterday was a rest day. Full rest day, solely just, spending time with family. Sorry. I don't know why I stuttered there so much. Spending time with family and doing a lot of stretches. Today was upper body session, plus a lot more recovery because my legs are still sore. Tomorrow will be another double session with a hard leg workout and a hard ab workout. And then depending on what happens, Wednesday, Thursday, in some order, will be ball work session, cardio, pickup, or all of the above. And then Friday will be one final ab workout before Saturday I leave. And that will be my physical plan for the week. This is a lighter week in comparison to weeks prior. Like last week I did 2 of the cardio sessions, and well, obviously it's encapsulated in the fact that the Saturday I had a double session, right? But I had a double session on the Saturday. I did another hard cardio on the treadmill. I did a very sweaty and hard ball workout, like ball at the feet workout, and the same kind of strength workouts. So I did a little bit more. Now I'm doing a little bit less so that I don't get there so sore, and that mentally I can make sure I'm as prepared as possible. So that's what my schedule and my plan is looking like. That's kind of how, it's not how all athletes train. We all have a different way of going about things, but that's how I do it. That's how I've kind of planned out my days and planned out my time to train in the best way possible. So now I truly believe that I'm ready to go. There's the 4 aspects of the game. And again, it can be applied to any sport, but I'm going to talk about football because that's what I'm going on. Football being soccer, right? For the Americans. Because I kind of said football like football. Like the American way of thinking of American football. But football, real true football, being soccer in Europe. The trial that I'm going to go on starting next week. There's the 4 pillars to the game. The physical, which I'm really honing in on, and I'm pretty ready on that front. The technical, the tactical, and the mental, which is the most important. But those are the 4 aspects of the game. And if you master those 4 and you constantly are always training those 4, you will see improvements, right? And I've seen it in myself. I gave the example of my long passing. I gave the example of how my mentality has slowly changed over the years to now I'm here where I am now. Right? Faith and my belief in God has been a huge part in strengthening my mentality from where I was maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So I'm going to leave you with that. There's those 4 pillars to the game, 4 pillars to athleticism in any aspect. So you have to kind of try and master those 4 and balance the time you work on those 4. It's important that really in most sports you don't want to be top heavy. You don't want to focus too much on the gym and on strength training. In most sports, cardio and quick change of pace and agility, that kind of stuff is the most important. No more so than the sport of football, right? The one that I am pursuing. So that is it. That is my training schedule. I hope that gave you some insights as to how I am going about it and how a person actually does train for these types of big pursuits and big opportunities coming up. So I hope you enjoy something. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you take some things from it. Whatever you could possibly take from it, who knows? That's for you, the audience, to look at and rationalize and think about for yourself. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for making this far. If you had and you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on Spotify. I'm continuing to upload a podcast every single day. As I said at the beginning of this episode, this week will be kind of me talking about the big trial coming up and the preparations that I'm doing for it, so that you can follow the journey directly with me, so that you can kind of get inside scoop as to what's going on in the day-to-day of a big pursuit like this, so that hopefully you can apply some of these things to whatever big pursuits of your own that you're going on or want to go on. So this week's going to be a lot of preparation, and in the future we're going to actually be giving live updates on the state of what's happening on the day-to-day of the trial. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. As I said before, show your support. Let me know what you thought. Let me know, certain workouts and things that I could probably be doing better in myself. Perhaps I'm not doing enough. I don't know. I kind of have that sometimes, that insecure overachiever mindset where I'm not sure if I'm doing enough. So let me know. Let me know what you guys are doing. What are you working on? What pursuits are you on? And if it's a physical pursuit, I can for sure help you a lot with that. Because even if I don't have like a degree in anything, I have a lot of hands-on experience with big physical pursuits and with big goals and dream chasing. Because that's what I'm doing right now, and that's why I am going on this trial in a week from now. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Be sure to follow the journey. Be sure to stay updated with all of the stuff that's going on with this journey and with this football trial. And, hopefully I'll see you on the other side. That's what I'm saying. So thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.